Well, joining me now here on set is Ibrahim Freyhat. He's an Associate Professor of Conflict Resolution at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Good to have you here with us. So, Ibrahim, let's talk about the strike on the Indonesian hospital. This is just the latest in a series of incidents at hospitals, right? From Shifa, the Baptist hospital before that. Is it normalizing attacks on critical civilian infrastructure?
Actually, we are seeing two patterns emerging here from the bombing of these civil services facilities. One is that we started with the hospitals, with the Baptist hospital. It was bombed. It was a word cry over this, and Israel denied. But then there was another attack, and then was received with less reaction from the international community because they got used to it. Now, Israel is bombing hospitals and is not even making an explanation. And the second pattern that aligns with this perfectly, it's the schools. The schools, same thing. The first school was also received with international condemnation. But then yesterday, Al Fakhura school, 200 people in a place that used as a shelter for refugees. It's not even Israel is not claiming that there are Hamas fighters hiding there. Even Israel is not making such a claim. But then it bombs it, kills 200 people, and no explanation whatsoever. So the word is
what kind
normalizing.
Of dangerous precedent is this setting? If for those who still believe in a rule of law, a world of order, who believe the US president's statement about a rules-based society and world?
Well, what happened, Sami, is that the Israeli actions in Gaza can never be justified. So the West, the leaders of the West, so what happened is that they stopped explaining. Because how are you going to explain the Al Fakhura school bombing yesterday that even Israel is not denying and is not claiming that there are Hamas fighters there? So this is a huge violation of international law. But then what can Biden say about this? So because of the huge embarrassment that Israel is causing to Western leaders, and so the explanation has stopped. And as we know, yesterday the Wall Street Journal was revealing some information about that the conversation between Biden and Netanyahu is becoming increasingly tensed. There is a huge tension between the two. So obviously, in the private, we see this kind of private condemnation, but not on the world stage, from Biden to
very
Netanyahu.
Different from the public discourse Western leaders were having over what they were accusing of Russian violations, war crimes, massacres, and so on in Ukraine. Right there was no hiding the words for private discussion.
Absolutely, and the number speaks for this, Sami. Here, the number of children in Gaza that were killed in the first month, the first 30 days, are 6 times the number of children that killed in Ukraine in the entire 2 years. In the first month, right. 6 times the number of children killed in Ukraine.
Clearly huge casualties. Let's talk a little bit about...
And the U.S. administration is not saying a word about it.
The Houthis' seizure of a ship, what does that mean for the conflict?
It means we are also seeing a pattern is in the process of being formulated as well.
So you think this is going to go on? This is just the beginning of something?
Absolutely. Actually, I disagree with Iran's foreign minister that this is the first step towards regional expansion. Actually, this is the third step, in my view. The first step was done by Hezbollah in Lebanon on October 8th. Actually, that we started to see Hezbollah intervention. And the second step, actually, it was the Houthis themselves. In the past week, they fired a number of ballistic missiles from Yemen to Israel. So that was happening during the past week and also a week before. This is the third step.
Might we see other ships targeted? Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, we go with the official statements of the Houthis making that targeting only Israeli ships. So in terms of Israeli ships, absolutely. I mean, the Houthis statements is very clear. And this is, again, this is not just a random thing. They fired ballistic missiles over the past 2 weeks, and now they're moving openly and clearly to a second step of seizing Israeli ships. And I think they're going to continue with this.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those videos released by the Israeli army from Al-Shifa hospital. Do they show that there was a Hamas command and control center in Al-Shifa hospital, which was Israel's claim or justification for the raid there?
Well, from what we've seen, and I understand this is very difficult to verify at this stage, only seeing this on TV, but from what we've seen, the answer is absolutely not. And what we can say here is that Israel is under immense international pressure to produce an evidence. What we saw is an edited video. So, and we know in the court actually, any evidence that can be subject to manipulation is dismissed immediately. It cannot be taken.
And they refused to allow an independent investigator.
Well, there was a CNN reporter, and this is actually where it takes me to the, they took a CNN reporter that saw only this small hole but did not go through the tunnel. So why are you bringing CNN reporter that to see only this opening? But then in the other video where the editing is shown is that you're showing a tunnel. You could have just taken into the tunnel, but that did not happen. So there is, even with what the Israeli army is producing, there is a high level of contradiction and edited, and this is also the third or the fourth day after entering Al-Shifa hospital. So
underscores the need for an international independent investigator to go in. Thanks so much, Ibrahim, for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, still ahead.